You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Yesterday, during the Senate confirmation hearing of Merrick Garland, Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff specifically asked Garland about this particular case. Here is their exchange.
Judge, I want to ask you about equal justice. Black Americans continue to endure profiling, harassment, brutality, discrimination in policing and prosecution, in sentencing, and in incarceration. How can you use the immense power of the Office of the Attorney General to make real America's promise of equal justice for all? And can you please be specific about the tools that you'll have at your disposal?
Yeah. So this is a substantial part of why I wanted to be the Attorney General. I'm deeply aware of the moment that the country is in. When Senator Durbin was reading the statement of Robert Kennedy, it hit me that we are in a similar moment to the moment he was in. So there are a lot of things that the department can do. One of those things has to do with the problem of mass incarceration, the over-incarceration of American citizens, and of its disproportionate effect on Black Americans and communities of color and other minorities. There are different ways in which we can try, that is disproportionate in the sense both of population, but also given the data we have on the fact that crimes are not committed by these crimes are not committed in any greater number than in others, and that similar crimes are not charged in the same way. So we have to figure out ways to deal with this. So one important way, I think, is to focus on the crimes that really matter, that to bring our charging and our arresting on violent crime and others that deeply affect our society, and not have such an overemphasis on marijuana possession, for example, which has disproportionately affected communities of color and then damaged them far after the original arrest because of the inability to get jobs. We have to look at our charging policies again and go back to the policy that I helped Janet Reno draft during her period, and that Eric Holder drafted while he was the Attorney General, of not feeling that we must charge every offense to the maximum, that we don't have to seek the highest possible offense with the highest possible sentence, that we should give discretion to our prosecutors to make the offense and the charge fit the crime and be proportional to the damage that it does to our society. That we should look at we should also look closely and be more sympathetic towards retrospective reductions in sentences, which the First Step Act has given us some opportunity, although not enough, to reduce sentences to a fair amount. And legislatively, we should look at equalizing, for example, what's known as the crack powder ratio, which has had an enormously disproportionate impact on communities of color, but which evidence shows is not related to the dangerousness of the two drugs. And we should do as President Biden has suggested, seek the elimination of mandatory minimum, so that we once again give authority to district judges, trial judges, to make determinations based on all of the sentencing factors that judges normally apply, and that don't take away from them the ability to do justice in individual cases. All of that will make a big difference in the things that you're talking about.
Thank you, Judge Garland. And let's discuss accountability for local agencies. The Civil Rights Division has the authority to launch pattern or practice investigations targeting systemic violations of constitutional rights or violations of federal statutes governing law enforcement. Tomorrow will be the first anniversary of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery in Glenn County, Georgia, who was shot to death in broad daylight in the street on camera. But local authorities chose to look the other way, and were it not for the activism of Georgia's NAACP, there likely would not have been any prosecution in that case. How can Congress equip DOJ's Civil Rights Division to launch more and more effective pattern or practice investigations without asking you to comment on the details of the Arbery case? And how else can the Department of Justice use its authority to ensure that where local agencies violate constitutional rights or fail to uphold the guarantee of equal protection, there's accountability?
Well, I appreciate it. You're not asking me to talk about a pending case. What I will say is that, like many, many Americans, I was shocked by what I saw in videos of Black Americans being killed over this last summer. That's, I do think, created a moment in the national life that brought attention from people who had not seen what Black Americans and other members of communities of color had known for decades. But it did bring everything to the fore and created a moment in which we have an opportunity to make dramatic changes and really bring forth equal justice under the law, which is our commitment of the Justice Department. So the Civil Rights Division is the place where we focus these operations. You're exactly right that pattern or practice investigations are the core of our ability to bring actions here. That these lead to all different kinds of remedies, sometimes consent decrees as a potential remedy. We also can criminally prosecute violations of constitutional rights, and we can also provide funding for police departments to reform themselves. I do believe that officers who follow the law and the Constitution want that accountability. They want officers who do not to become accountable, because if that doesn't happen, their law enforcement agency is tainted. They lose the credibility in the community, and without the community's trust, they can't bring safety. So we have this number of tools. Whether we need additional tools in this particular area, I don't know. Obviously, the resources are necessary. I'm probably going to be like a broken record in every one of these areas for us to do our job.
And Judge Garland, with my time so short, will you commit to working with my office and with this committee to determine what additional authorities the department may need and what resources you may require in order to be able to bring more and more effective pattern or practice investigations where appropriate?
Absolutely, Senator. I'm sorry to have gone on.
No problem.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.